Okay, so this is going to be a quick video of me showing basically the blind target pool. Now, I don't have many blind targets left in my pool at the moment, but this is how a remote viewer develops accuracy. They start with blind target training, and a blind target is put in an envelope like this. It could be a picture or a written cue, and the beginning viewer or even a intermediate or advanced viewer will often remote view in the blind. I like remote viewing in the blind because it removes my conscious awareness from the target and gives me a little bit of the wow and surprise factor as well. But when you're doing blind targets like this and you have multiple targets that you pick out randomly with random TRNs, target reference numbers, on them, that's when you can develop the accuracy because you're pulling in all the information in the blind. You're developing your entire session in the blind using a pen and paper and sketches and word descriptors to identify your target. And the idea is not to know exactly what your target is when you begin the session. The idea is to keep your psychic aperture open and to gather as much information as possible about the target, usually raw sensory data, and any other word descriptors that you come up with, and the sketches, which also definitely identify the basic archetypes of the target, whether you're dealing with a structure, a life form, land, water, any of those things. All of those things come in very rudimentary form at first, but they're developed with this. And the remote viewer basically calibrates his accuracy by knowing when he's hitting, getting information that's clearly about the target, either the photograph or the written cue in the envelope, that he's accurate. Now, there is a subjective feeling to that as well, but that's extremely difficult to identify without actually going through the disciplined process of remote viewing a bunch of blind targets. It's a little bit like being in good shape, kind of like when you develop your muscles and you can kind of tell that you're in good shape. You know that your body can handle some stress and strain that it couldn't before. It's a very subjective feeling. But as far as a feedback system that lets you develop that accuracy, the blind target pool is the key to that. Very rarely do you run into ambiguity with the blind target pool. Typically, you know whether you've hit the target or not. It either pertains to the target or it doesn't. It's usually black or white, hit or miss, yes or no. You're either completely wrong and you blew something during the session, or you've accurately gathered information about the target. And it is very, very, very effective. And this is one of the reasons why remote viewers are more accurate than natural psychics in pulling in their information, because they can calibrate when they're on target, when they're actually gathering information about a specific target. And it's just a matter of practice and discipline to do that. Most natural psychics, no matter how talented they are, do not know when they're on target and do not know when they've run off into creative imagination. Some do. Some more experienced, advanced ones who have been doing it for years do, but very rarely. A lot of times their information gets corrupted with creative imagination or other things. So the blind target pool is the best method for developing accuracy. Hope that explains a little bit about how remote viewing works.